Hey folks, Rebecca back for another episode of the Monday Mr. Money Mustache Motivation. If you're new here, I do these episodes every Monday. I am a fan of Mr. Money Mustache. He is big in the FIRE blogging world, and what I do is pick one of his blog posts. We read through the blog post, either part of it or in its entirety, and then we discuss down in the comments what we liked about the blog or what we disagreed with. Whatever comments you might have, you can stick them down below in the comments. I also always provide the link to the blog post that I'm reading from. That way you can go and check out the blog in its entirety if you want to check out Mr. Money Mustache and learn more about the FIRE movement. So today I am going to batch film quite a few of these because I don't want to scrape paint or trim hedges or do any of the other things that I need to get done around the house. It's the start of another work week and I'm just trying to procrastinate getting some house things done, but I think once I get done filming these, I'm just gonna have to suck it up and get some things done anyway. So without further ado, we will get into the next episode of the Quintuple M. Today is episode 37. I took this blog post from June 21st, 2011, titled Frugality as a Muscle. Oh, Mr. Money Mustache is pissed off today. Picked a good one to get back into the routine of this, didn't I? It's because he just stumbled across a competing personal finance blog that espouses blatantly anti-mustachian principles, and yet it has the audacity to call itself IWillTeachYouToBeRich.com. Here's the article called The Psychology of Cutting Back on Lattes if you want to compare it to your own value system. And now we'll have some fun celebrating what is right about that article and crushing what is wrong about it in the rock-hard crevice between our biceps and forearms. Yeah, I don't have one of those. Or perhaps sweeping the wrong parts off of the street and into the sewer with our stiff, bristling money mustaches. First, a word on the author, Ramit Sethi. I'm probably saying that wrong. I have heard of this guy before, though. I'd never heard of this guy before, not being part of the regular commercial world, but it sounds like he has some triple M type attributes himself, which I must admire. He is bossy, opinionated, and wise. He's a self-described best-selling author, which is also impressive, but not something I wish upon myself, because I don't want to try to take from you the very money I want you to save. But it turns out he has a different take on frugality. He is more into focus on the big picture, spend your time figuring out how to earn more money, then live a big, guilt-free, spendy life, going to restaurants and buying things. Dee, yeah. Fancy car, vroom, all right. Martinis tonight, let's go. Hop on my jet, let's fly first class to London, baby. I must admit, he had me caught up there for a while. It did sound like a lot of fun, and it could be a worthy goal to aspire to if the entire world was one big USA and money really could buy happiness, and there was nobody more worthy to spend money on than myself, and no shortage of natural resources for all of us to burn up by increasing our lifestyles beyond the 500% of sustainable level that we're currently running at. So anyway, in the article about not cutting back on lattes, I found lines like these. What is the point of saving money on obsessing about small expenses like lattes? Is it truly to save money or is it to reduce guilt? These trivially expensive beverages, yo-yo of spending, cutting back and starting to spend again. The whole point of money is to spend it on things you love. Pleasure purchases should not be a source of shame. Aha, I see what Mr. Sethi is getting at. He shares the common misconception that buying things makes you happier and not buying things makes your life suck. So it's hard to cut back on this pleasure purchasing. Tend to agree here. If this were true, Mr. Money Mustache would not exist. I wouldn't be writing every day about this absolutely golden lifestyle that will both catapult you to ultimate happiness and save our entire species and planet if it weren't actually fun. The problem with the big income, big spender solution to riches is that it is a hollow victory. You are putting effort into earning ever-increasing amounts of income that could have been put into finding a meaningful life for yourself. You're buying shit that builds up in your closet or in your arteries and your abdomen. You are channeling your precious mental energy into consumption rather than producing ideas and things of your own. I will admit that the big thinking, be great at everything you do component of this philosophy is worthwhile and does bring happiness. And after watching some YouTube videos of Ramit Sethi, I actually really like the guy. He's very funny and in real life seems to be quite down to earth. That's probably why people are excited about his blog and the best-selling book. But a true mustachian can go much farther than that. You see, the anti-frugal ranting is the error. Big income, big spender believers imagine frugal people as tragic little beings whining and suffering out in the street in their potato sack clothing as they harvest leaves and sticks from the gutters and try to pound them into pulp with rocks in order to make their own toilet paper so they can save 26 cents per week. Wow. And they extend this 26-cent mentality even into rather big expenditures like $1,000 per year on takeout coffee. Then these believers show what happens when the typical clueless ultra consumer tries his hand at frugality. Oh, I want to cut back my budget this week, so I'm buying less lattes, but wow, my stomach craves a latte. Oh, this frugality stuff sucks. I'm going to go back to my comfortable old life. And that's the end of the person's attempt. Well, yeah, it was hard for that person because their frugality muscles were so weak and flabby and hidden beneath folds of consumer fat that they could not even flex properly. Just as I would be whining and falling down in the desert sand if I packed up tomorrow and decided to run the Death Valley Ultra Marathon, a 135-mile race done in temperatures up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. But what does frugality feel like to someone who has developed their muscles? It feels absolutely amazing. It is badassity itself, which means it is happiness itself. For example, today I got up, cooked breakfast at home, then went out on a bike errand around town. I visited my rental house to sign a lease with a new tenant and then biked to the bank machine to deposit some checks, then to the grocery store to buy some fruits and vegetables. It was a fantastic errand since I took the scenic Creekside route and ended up traveling almost 20 miles in a loop of half the city to visit all of these places. And I did it at the highest possible speed, carving corners, jumping curbs, wind roaring in the ears, burning almost 1,000 calories in the process. Afterwards was lunch. Then I did the week's load of laundry, which I enjoyed hanging up to dry as part of my personal anti-electric clothes dryer vendetta. In the afternoon, I played with my son in the living room, had some nice conversations with my wife, finished a woodworking project in my garage, then cooked a delicious dinner, and later found myself typing this MFUMB article. If you look it over, this was a perfectly frugal day. I didn't drive a car. I didn't buy anything other than the carefully chosen food from a grocery store. No lattes, no martinis and steaks, no golf clubs or BMWs. I used very little energy and threw out no trash, and it wasn't hard at all. I did not suffer or whine or deny myself any form of pleasure. In fact, it was an absolutely stellar day, and I ended up healthier and richer at the end of it than when I woke up this morning. Sometimes I can hardly sleep at night because my days are so fun and energizing. I have to get back out of bed and read and write some more stuff just to process all the joy. And as it turns out, almost every day is like this. There really is no suffering here in this highly frugal life, just a lot of rewarding work and effort and accomplishment. I'm not a Death Valley ultramarathon frugalist like Jacob from Early Retirement Extreme, but I still run a good race compared to my fellow countrymen because my frugality muscles are healthy and well developed. So how can we get the latte swilling, car financing, whining flab bombs described on Sethi's website to start developing their own muscles? Your guess is as good as mine. Part of my attempt, this MFUMB blog, is to show people that there is a desirable end goal: early, full, or semi-retirement in a full material comfort. After capturing their imagination, we will throw them into the MFUMB gym and lock the door. The workouts are a never-ending stream of amusing reminders that you can't get here by buying your way in, because it is far more efficient to save your way in instead. Cut your big expenses like car costs first, as our competitor also advises. But then continue the accelerating trend as your muscles develop until you find one day that you are saving 75 to 90% of your take-home pay. This acceleration phase is what makes the difference between early retirement at 60 versus true early retirement only 10 years or so from when you do your first lift. Age 30 if you start at 20. You get happier even as you get better at the methods and richer. Rinse, repeat, retire early. I've discovered from the comments that many of us are already fairly muscular in this department, but it is still fun to work out together and to welcome any new folks just coming in on their first guest pass. All right, y'all, so what do you think about this one? He seems to be poking a little bit of fun at the Remit Sethi there. I do tend to agree with Mr. Money Mustache on this, though. The major flaw with the thought process of just earn more money is that lifestyle creep is a thing. You will spend more money if you don't have your frugality muscle flexed. And if you're not used to being frugal, then yeah, it's going to be an extreme challenge for you not to buy a latte. The other major flaw with the earn more mentality is that Mr. Money Mustache makes a great point about sustainability. If you're going to earn more and spend more, think about how that's impacting the earth as an overall whole here. Sustainability is something that all of us need to be thinking about. You know, this American way of life of just McMansion living and wasteful spending, wasteful energy usage is not good for the planet. So that's another major flaw in that way of thinking. If you've been in the financial community for a while, you may have heard someone else describe frugality as a muscle. Budget Girl did it many years ago. And it's true. Frugality is really a muscle. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. You don't feel deprived after doing it for a while. Many people in the financial community are also talking about how they're not fans of doing no spend months, and I totally get it. I tend to actually be on both sides of that argument because I've done no spends for a while as well. No spends can be a bad thing if after a month, say, of doing a no spend, you end up freaking out and booking a cruise like I did. I went on a no spend for what, 3 months, something like that. I think 11 weeks is what I did. And then I ended up booking a cruise for my husband and myself this winter. But the good thing, the flip side of that coin, if you can do a reasonable no spend for a certain length of time, it really does help you work that frugality muscle. You start to establish habits that keep you from just mindlessly spending your money. For example, you know, stopping for a coffee on the way to work or picking up your lunch through a drive-through. The more you can do a no spend and get that habit established, the better. So yeah, I really like this article because it makes you think. Of course, nobody should be shamed about how they choose to spend their own money, but everyone should be intentional with how they spend their money. And if you're gonna have the earn more, spend more lifestyle, do what you can to reduce your impact on the earth if you're gonna choose to, you know, live that way. So the overarching theme of this article, I think, is to just really be intentional with your money. Think about how you're spending and realize that being frugal does not mean that you have to be miserable. So let me know what you took away from this article down in the comments below. I'll see you next Monday for the next episode of the Quintuple M. And if you haven't already, scroll down and click that red subscribe button for me. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.